Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about study tips for medical coding students. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. I have been a medical coder for over 10 years. I really love what I do. I like sharing my knowledge. I like sharing my experiences. So I hope that you will hit that subscribe button. I hope that you will like this video, and I hope that you will share it if this video helps you. Okay, so let's get started. Now, study tips, right? If you are a medical coding student and you are wondering, how do I study? It's so much to study. There is so much to learn. I have no medical background. What do I do? Help. Okay, I will start off by saying this. I had no medical background at all when I first started. I was somebody that wanted to be an attorney. Okay, so I was far away from medical. I didn't want anything to do with needles. That was not for me. As it turns out, this has nothing to do with needles. So, how did I learn? How did I make it from being a medical coding student, getting certified, getting my first job, and being where I am now, where I really love what I do, and I have my own YouTube channel? Well, this was not an easy road, okay? Trust me, if you think it was easy for me, it wasn't. I am a very studious person. This is a quality that is needed when you are in this field. You have to be studious. I will say that first and foremost, because even when you get done with school and you get your certification, oh no, it's not over. You're going to continue to study, because what you learn in school is maybe not even it's just a fraction of what you are really going to learn once you get into the real world and you're out there coding in wherever, whether it's in a hospital or a doctor's office or for inpatients in a hospital. It is going to be a whole different ball game. The thing is, it is possible. So I did see this meme today that made me think of this very topic. And it says, the reason why people don't make movies that are 6 hours long is because no one would watch it. Everybody would say the movie is too long. But if you broke it out into 6 different episodes, people would binge watch that. So it's the same idea when you are studying. You have to break it up. It is a huge task that you're undertaking. Somebody that is not going to medical school has to know what somebody went to a medical school knows, right? You have to know your anatomy, physiology, and medical terminology. These are the 3 core things that you have to have a good foundation for before you get into the coding part. The coding part is actually going to go very fast compared to your base knowledge, which is learning anatomy, physiology, medical terminology. Then you still have pharmacology, and you still have to learn all of those things. You need to learn the basics. Just get through the basics. I'm going to be talking about tips for learning medical terminology on Friday. That is a topic that is hugely brought up right now. And I do have another video scheduled for Monday, but that is about transitioning from being like an inpatient coder to an outpatient coder, or an outpatient coder to an inpatient coder. So I do have a variety of topics coming up. All right. So I want you guys to think about it like this. This whole thing that you've got in front of you, right? This whole task that you have about learning medical coding, start with the basics. It's going to give you the lessons in sections, okay? Whatever program you're going through is not going to just throw you in to medical coding first thing. No, it's going to break it down, okay? And these are the things that you need to know in order to successfully pass, hopefully, your certification exam. Now, with medical terminology, anatomy, physiology, and pharmacology, take your time. It's a marathon. It is not a sprint. Schedule yourself time. If you have little ones, or if you have family members that you have to take care of, you need to set this time aside for you to study undisturbed, because after a while it becomes I don't want to say an excuse, but it does become a reason that you're not studying. If you are getting into medical coding because you want something different for your life, you want a more successful and stable career, this is a really good field for that. But you have to want it. It's not going to be given to you. This is not an easy field, period. You are constantly having to learn. We go through updates every year. And while it may seem overwhelming, this is a part of our life. So you have to get used to it. And this is stuff that maybe sometimes people don't tell you because they're trying to get you signed up for the program. And I want you guys to understand that. They're going to tell you whatever they need to get you in the program. But it's on you to know that you're going to have to study. Set aside that time. When you are studying, you need to take breaks. For every 1 hour, you need at least a 10 to 15 minute break. This is to get away from the book. This is to rest your eyes, move your eyes around so that you're not looking at the book or you're not staring at the screen. You need to stay on a schedule. If you can't stay on a schedule, or if you miss a day or whatever, it's fine. Just pick it up the next day or pick it up whenever you can later in that week or whatever the case may be. Don't try to cram a bunch of hours all in at one time, because all you're going to do is burn yourself out and overwhelm yourself. And you don't want to do that. You also need to think of different ways. How is it that you best learn? Do you best learn by looking at pictures? If you do, then you need to find pictures of whatever it is, your medical terminology, by doing flashcards. I talk about flashcards all the time. People discount the flashcards. This is the basics of studying. When you are physically writing out flashcards, it commits stuff to memory a lot easier than it would if you were just looking on a phone and just flipping. Your mind and your body are connected. When you are writing things out, your brain is looking at it and your brain sees it. It starts to seep into your memory. Blue, I've got all these medical terminologies. I got to write them all down. No. You just need to write down the ones that you know that you don't know. The ones that are giving you a hard time. Those are the ones that you need to write down. Well, Blue, what about the body? It's just so much. Yes, there's all the bones. There's all the organs. There's all the body systems. Everything. Yes. But as I said, if you break it down, it's going to be easier to manage. They're more manageable, bite-sized chunks, if you will, okay? And you want to put it like that so that you're not getting overwhelmed. And I want you guys to know that it is okay to try different methods, but don't try to shortcut your way into study tips, okay? A lot of people ask me, and I think sometimes with some, it is genuine that they don't know where to begin. They don't know how to start. And it's okay. And then for some, it's because they're looking for those shortcuts. They want to look for the easiest, quickest way to learn. Yes, there is more efficient ways, I'm sure, of learning, but I'm old-fashioned. Okay, I have an old-fashioned sense of study. I have an old-fashioned sense of reading. I read every single book that I was issued. In particular, when I was issued the Evaluation and Management book, I read the entire book cover to cover. And since then, anytime I've had to study anything else, I do have that same habit of, when I get a book, I'm going to read it cover to cover. Well, Blue, it's 300 and something pages. Okay, so then you take those 300 pages and then you divide it up however quick you want to get through that book. If you want to go a whole month, then you know if you have a 300-page book, you need to be going through 10 pages per day. In a 30-month day, 30 month, it's going to feel like 30 months. In a 30-day month, it's going to take you a whole month to finish 300 pages. But if you do your 10 pages per day, then you're able to slowly, your brain is, okay, we've done our 10 pages and we've done our learning for today, or we've done this for this subject. We're going to do something else for another subject. We're going to do something else for another subject. However many things that you need to complete in whatever amount of time. So just do things like that. What is it about the tortoise and the hare? Okay, right? It was the tortoise that finished because the tortoise was slow and steady. That's the thing. You have to be steady in your studying. And if you want to incorporate your family, because right now everybody's on lockdown, if you have your kids and your kids keep bugging you while you're trying to study, fine. Have them give you drills with the flashcards, you know? Oh, can you help me with this? If they want to bug you, fine. Then come on over and help me. Then you can learn too. How beneficial is that? They learn and you learn at the same time. So, and you're teaching each other, and kids have a wonderful sense of, they like to help. They want to be helpers. So, okay, you want to help? Well, here we go. You know, you hold these flashcards up and work with me. Do that. You know, if people in your household don't want to support you, that's fine. Again, you need to be firm when it comes to setting aside time to study, because this stuff, once you have this good foundation, this is your base. This is what is going to either make you successful or not when it comes to the coding part. The coding part will be easier if you fully understand medical terminology, anatomy, and physiology. Because when you start messing with the disease processes and start having to read that and understand what the symptoms are of a certain disease process, that's what is going to affect you. If you don't understand something, try to look for books, try to look for videos on YouTube. When I started with ortho many moons ago, when I was full-time into ortho, because I had done ortho spotted throughout my time, right, as a inpatient professional services coder or a profi coder, right? I had done ortho back then. But as I progressed, right, in my time, and especially when I got to this facility here, I started doing the surgeries. Okay, well, I would get really confused when it comes to the surgeries. How do I study for this? How do I get better with this? I started watching videos on YouTube and listening to what they were saying and how they were describing how they were going into the joint, or how they were using the trocars and things like that, how they were making the incisions and where they were looking at the meniscus. Okay, now that makes sense. Now I get it. But it takes looking for resources on YouTube or resources anywhere. And I will get the question a lot of, you know, what are some good resources? This is a prime time for you all to start learning how to do your research. I have done videos where I said, like, helpful websites for medical coders. I will probably try to put it on this video as well, so that way you guys can see it. But those are some helpful websites, and sometimes I feel like when I give websites out, people disregard them or they don't check into them. Guys, I'm telling you these because these are the ones that I use. These are the ones that help me, and because they help me, it's helped me to learn. I mean, I wouldn't share anything with you guys if it didn't help me to learn. And believe me, I am not getting paid by anybody. When I talk about AHIMA, when I talk about AAPC, when I talk about Optin360coding.com, when I talk about any of these, I get nothing. I'm sharing my information willingly with all of you, because this is the stuff that no one told me when I was in you guys' position. So remember, don't get overwhelmed, because if you get overwhelmed and you automatically start thinking, oh, well, I can't do this. This is too much. It's too hard. Then you already lost the race. It is about how you're viewing things. Is it a lot? Heck yes, it is a lot, especially for somebody that has either a high school diploma or a GED. It's a lot. Well, you know, I don't know if I could do it. Okay, well then if you don't think that you can do it, you know, no one is forcing you. You looked into it because you wanted a challenge, right? Or maybe you didn't know it was such a challenge, but you know it's a challenge now. You'll never get bored. If you are expanding yourself as a medical coder, you won't get bored in this field. This field is for intellectuals. This field is for thinkers. And some people may say, well, I do coding and I don't have to think all this hard and things like that. Well, are you really applying yourself then? That is really a big part of it. But these study tips that I give you guys, telling you guys to write out the flashcards and schedule these times, And sometimes I get pushback. Well, I can't do that. Well, then don't do it. I can't read the book cover to cover. Well, why not? Well, okay. Again, I use old-fashioned ways of doing things. I take notes. I will copy things down as far as like if I need to repeat it so that I can understand and know what it is. I do that. On my Patreon channel, I'm going to plug my channel for just a second. I do, and these are not official practices, but this is just me as a veteran coder sharing the scenarios and things and how I break it down. And I do this all the time on my channel because, and I do crossword puzzles to help with medical terminology. I do this because crossword puzzles will be like, okay, well, I know this is a 13-letter word and it means this. Okay, well, that means this. And I do them by themes. I do them by nervous system and skin and neurology and things like that. I mean, I do different ones. So it's $1 per month. I'm just saying. And you get access to all that. So I do videos where I talk things out because sometimes we just need somebody to just talk it out with us and explain it that way. So it's not like there's not resources, okay? Plus, I have all of the Quiz Friday episodes on my channel on YouTube. I don't want to say I don't because I probably will. I don't know. My Quiz Friday episodes on YouTube are not viewed very well. And I don't know if it's because a lot of times when people are looking on YouTube, they're just brand new and maybe this doesn't really mean too much to them. So those Quiz Friday episodes were not being viewed. That's why I put them exclusively on Patreon. But I do say that I will do more of back to the basics and things like that. Just the fundamental basic starting points of medical coding. And I do those, so it just depends on what the schedule is for the week. I try to make a schedule every week for tips and what the episodes are going to be about. But this episode is exclusively about the study tips and the study tips that I've talked about quite frequently, but I still get requests for study tip videos. So, but I want you guys to know that there is support. You know what I mean? Like, I am willing to help you, but I need to know that you guys are doing your part. When it comes to studying, I can't give you my knowledge. You have to be willing to do your part. And your part is putting in the time, putting in the work. It's like exercising. You have to get up and go out and walk or get up and go to the gym. You have to do that. No trainer, the best trainer in the world, can't make you lose weight or get in shape without you doing your part. Okay? You can have, like I said, the best fitness trainer in the world, but if you aren't doing your part, that fitness trainer, there's nothing that they can do for you. It's the same thing with me. If I can tell you all the knowledge that I have, I can share everything I know, I can share the little points and all these other things, but I can't give you any quick tips or I can't give you any shortcuts and how to learn things because I don't learn things by shortcuts. I learn things the old-fashioned way. I read books cover to cover. If I'm assigned a workbook for ICD-10 diagnosis coding or for medical terminology or anatomy and physiology, I read it cover to cover. And that's my commitment to studying. I read the questions first. Anytime I am reading a book cover to cover, you know how it's broken down into sections and chapters and stuff, and you know how you have the review questions at the end? I read the review questions first before I go and I read the rest of the chapter. Why? Why do I do that? Because that way I already know what are they looking for? What is the answers that they're looking for to these questions? It's already in my mind. And that's how I start to do that. Because as you read, you're going to get faster with reading. If you haven't read, if you haven't taken the time to study in years, it's okay. People start with medical coding at all ages. Believe me, they start at all ages, but it's really up to you. It's up here. You have to be driven, and you have to be willing to study, and you have to be willing to take it apart and look at it how it's going to break down to be more convenient in learning for you. If you say, well, I have to learn anatomy. Okay, well, but it's just so much. Okay, well, why don't you start off with the organs of the body? Learn the organs. Okay. Well, what about the bones? Okay, then you can go to the musculoskeletal system and you can learn the bones. Okay. You can learn pretty much where they are. Like I said, get pictures. If you have to print them out, there's plenty of pictures that you can print out on the internet that are of the skeleton. They have ones for the hand and one for the feet, and the upper limbs and things like that. So get them, print them out, and then post them. In the coding books, if you have your coding books in the back, if you use the Optum 360 coding books, they do have the anatomy plates in the back. If it will help you, then you can look at those and just look at them. Okay, you don't have to do anything, just look at them. Get coloring books. They have them at the bookstores for anatomy. They have coloring books. And I have a really awesome one. I have a picture of it on my Instagram, Medical Coding with Bleu, all one word. And use things like those things. Because as you're sitting there coloring, you may think, oh, this is really elementary. Yeah, that's all you need to be looking at it, and it'll commit itself to memory a lot better. Use mnemonic devices to remember things. So anyway, but you guys need to just use these mnemonic devices, use your resources, and yes, read books cover to cover. Whatever section you're in, read it cover to cover. And that is basically how you can do it. Wax on, wax off. These are basic tips, because there's no shortcut when you're trying to learn medical coding. There really isn't. Because even if you pass your certification, you still have to take your assessment test when you get out in the real world. And I've heard a lot of people complain that they feel like they were only taught to pass the exam, and now that they're in the real world, they don't know what the basics are. Guys, it's on you. You have to study, and you have to believe that you can do it. So put it in your head that you can do it, because yes, you can. So many people out there can do it. You can do it too. But you got to stop with negative talk. You can't say, I can't do this, it's too hard. You can do it. It's manageable, but you have to break it down, and just break it down whatever way works best for you. Okay, so that's my tips on that one. I'll be talking about medical terminology on Friday, so be sure to tune in. I'll be giving y'all my tips about medical terminology, and I'll probably break down some words, that way you guys can see it, and I'll talk more about that on Friday. So I will go ahead and wrap this one up. But if you are a medical coder, a medical coding student, somebody curious about the fascinating world of medical coding, a provider or a nurse, I invite you to like and subscribe and follow me on my journey in medical coding. I will see y'all next time. Bye.